Welcome to the Paradox Perspective. In this channel, I'll be exploring the interface between seemingly conflicting viewpoints like science and mysticism, reductionism and holism, secularity and spirituality. Lots of YouTube channels have set out to achieve this goal, but I have yet to find one that maintains a true balance between the known and the unknowable. This polarization has never been more obvious, and extremism runs rampant on both sides. It's way too easy to find conspiracy videos with New Age philosophies that jump from sacred geometry, like the Golden Ratio, to Illuminati theories, like shape-shifting reptilian overlords. While the comment sections of these videos are full of rational fanatics who use pure logic to try and dismantle subjectivity as if personal experience was meaningless or even non-existent. This perceptual duality is inherent within all of us, because it is an emergent property of the interaction between the two sides of our brains. You've probably heard that the left brain is logical and the right brain is emotional. And while this is an oversimplification, it is generally true that the left side of our brain tends to process information in a discrete, segmented way, in terms of abstract semantic relationships like language, while the right side of our brain is biased to perceive the world as a continuous and interconnected landscape, which is perceived as relationships in time and space. This left-right dichotomy also seems to be paralleled by two distinct but interconnected pathways through which sensory information flows within your brain. One of these streams of information flows up and over, while the other flows around and down. The bottom stream, also known as the ventral pathway, can be compared to the left side of your brain in the sense that it seems to distinguish and identify details about specific objects, or what things are. The top stream, or the dorsal pathway, can be compared to the right side of your brain in the sense that it deals with visual and spatial information, or where you are compared to your surroundings. This is a bit convoluted, but Jordan Peterson eloquently distinguishes these two modes of thinking. He says we can either perceive reality as a place for things, or as a forum for action. For example, you can describe your bedroom as the room with the bed, or you can see the space as an area where you sleep. And we need both of these perspectives in order to have a coherent worldview. Of course, you don't need a bed to sleep, but we can't imagine an object that doesn't interact with its surroundings, and we can't imagine motion without a corresponding thing doing the moving. Our conception of things and actions, or objects and their surroundings, are inextricably linked, because, like all opposites, they cannot exist without each other. But still, these two modes of thinking often feel contradictory. In other words, reductionist and holistic thought, or logic and emotion, are often portrayed as being opposed to one another, because not all things can be explained. Some things are simply outside the scope of rationality, and any rational person will agree with this. This is a concept called Fichte's paradox of knowability, which states that the possibility of knowing every truth necessarily implies that every truth is already known. This is a rather confusing concept, but it is somewhat related to the liar's paradox, the famous "this statement is false" contradiction. There are many ways to say this simple truth, but the upshot is that knowledge can never be absolute. Our perspective on reality seems to be indefinitely split between faith and doubt. After all, science is about what we don't know, but mysticism is about what we can't know. In the words of Einstein, a conflict between science and religion appears impossible. For science can only ascertain what is, but not what should be. This channel is intended to be a moderating interplay between fact and imagination, between the voice of reason and the passion of irrationality. In these videos, we will explore the unstoppable force of thought that occurs when we use reason and evidence to strengthen our emotional drives, and the alchemical magic that emerges when we use imagination and intuition to inform our logical intelligence. And so, the Paradox Perspective is born.